I'm about ready to head into church. Um, Something happened yesterday. I've had a setback. Man, I've had um, a handful of deals people got raided, and or there were changes in their policies, right? And so there's been, you know, I'm not getting paid, right? So that's part of the challenges with commission business. And then I had one, a big deal that the guy doesn't want to sign his delivery receipt. He's, you know, you know, erratic, um, irrational, anyways, and yeah, he's, and he didn't have a reason. Single guy, right? Um, and so I'm like gonna get a chargeback, and that's, I've had chargeback before. I hate them, can't stand them. So I always try to do things a certain way to reduce the chargebacks, right? That's why I do a lot of term. If somebody doesn't have an emergency fund, I don't put them in a permanent policy until they get their emergency fund. Put them in a term policy, and recruit them, help them get their license, help make more money, so they can get their emergency fund built up. Then we can convert it to a permanent policy. By that time, they get their license already. They could write their permanent policy. And do the same thing with all their database. Who's in the similar boat. So now they don't feel reluctant to give up their list to wait to get their license so they can write all the business. Because what I do is by writing up, doing these terms and recruiting them and doing the same thing I'm doing for them, I lay track for them. Okay. And so when their mind starts realizing, okay, this is what this relationship is going to do for me, all right, and then they move faster. Okay. And then, but I still was, a little down because of what's been happening. And I'm listening to these calls, and these recruits, they're talking about you get 315. Okay, I'm like 15,000 points. I did 66,000 points in 4 days. And I used to be a great recruiter, but then I'd recruit people and they wouldn't plug into the system. They wouldn't they wouldn't come to the meetings. They wouldn't get out in the field. They wouldn't get their license. All right. They didn't engage. They didn't do what they're supposed to do. Now, I believe a big part of that is their error of expectation when they're not understanding, and then here they are, that it's a change of focus. They're concentrating on that test, studying for that test, right? And they're not recruiting. They're not talking to people about the business. They're not plugging into the trainings. So they're not understanding more. They're not getting more tools, more information to talk about. Okay. And so I just like, okay, I know I can write business, right? And that's what I started focusing on. All right. But now I'm starting to see that when you get somebody and they do what they do, they get their AMA, they schedule their test date, and they get the study material, and then they do their own personal financial strategy, and then they do their list. And when they understand that when they give me the list, that I am broadening that database for them. So when they get their license, they've got business to write. And having that expectation out there to give them that understanding is what makes this dog hunt. And it can turn your life around like that. All right. And it's taken me this bit of time to put this puzzle together and articulate it in a fashion which I think people can grasp. Right. And so that's why I'm putting this out there. All right. Have a great Sunday.